Hi, Amanda. Good
Hi.
evening. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. Juxtaposition of your very soul. So I'd like to say thank you very much for saying yes to be interviewed today. And I know we've been trying to get the schedule right between the two of us since I think November.
Yeah,
Finally,
it's
it
been a
really happened.
while. At
Exactly.
last.
Yes, last. Yay! So, okay, without further ado, normally I read out a bit of introduction about my guests to my listeners, and then we can get right into the business.
Sure.
All right. So, hi everybody. We have Amanda Cassar. I hope I spelled that correctly. Okay. She's a financial advisor based in Australia's Gold Coast. She holds a Master of Financial Planning with specialist accreditations in aged care advice and self-managed superannuation funds, which is retirement pension savings. She has a special interest in financial abuse and is the course writer of the Financial Abuse Specialist Accreditation, which is globally distributed by Standards International UK. Wow, that's pretty niche. All right. So before we go down to the nitty gritty of it, can you share with us like what was it like growing up as Amanda Cassar?
Oh, wow. That was so long ago. Very just middle class family. My mum was a hairdresser and my dad sold insurance, and we lived in a beautiful suburb of the Gold Coast where I could ride to my primary school and my high school, and grew up with my lovely friends who are still my friends to this day. I married not long after school and had my two babies, and my children now work with me in my financial planning business. So my son is a financial advisor and my daughter helps with admin for us, and recently became a grandma for the first time. So
Wow,
that's very exciting
congratulations!
as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you can, for those who can't see, I have a world map behind me, and I really, really love to travel and put all the pins in the wall for the places I've been. So yeah, looking forward to putting a lot more pins in the wall. So yeah, I've had a lovely
Awesome.
time with my adventures, and yeah, look forward to many more.
Yeah, we're gonna get right into that because it shows here that you have so many projects across the world. So I mean, right now as we speak. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. I don't see the pin there. Is it is it like how do
There's yeah, probably there's more over in Europe. So there's a little one here for Malawi. There's
right?
another
Okay.
one Uganda. Yeah, once you get a bit higher, there's a lot more up in Europe. So
Awesome, awesome.
yeah, not so much for Africa.
Okay. All right. So Amanda, can you tell us the journey during your early years in terms of your career and what made you want to pivot to financial investing?
I actually, when I left school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And one of my teachers told me, if you don't go to university, you're just wasting yourself. So I ended up, I worked for as waitressing for a little while, and I taught keyboard for a little while to primary school. And a friend of my dad's asked if I'd like to come and be his secretary. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'll try that. I worked as a teacher aide a day a week. And after time, I understood very quickly what he did for a living, which was selling insurance products and putting aside people's retirement money. And after some time, I'd had my children very young and went back to work when they were at school. And everyone kept saying to me, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? So eventually I thought, why don't I do this? So I was only working 3 days a week, and we weren't poor, but we lived every week to week, paycheck to paycheck. And it was quite difficult if like the washing machine broke down or the car broke down, we didn't have extra money. So I didn't want to live like that forever. And I thought, well, maybe if I studied financial planning and became a planner, then I could help not only myself, but my clients. So that's why I originally became interested and eventually became a financial planner. So I didn't want to live like that anymore. And I decided if there was going to be changes, I had to be the change. So that's what started me on the path for financial planning.
Wow. So did you have to? So what was the first step of getting accredited? So did you? What was it like for you?
Well, I was working 3 days a week and I had two children under five, and I also had to do my studies. And at that stage, it was university level studies that I had to do. So I did one subject at a time while I was working. And then I finished all 8 subjects of an advanced diploma, and could finally work as an advisor a little bit along the way as well and start building up and seeing clients. And then I also decided to go on and do my master's degree after that while we were building our own home. So unpackaging, that
Wow.
was a bit crazy with the kids, and we were living with a friend who had a 2 bedroom house, and all 4 of us were in one room while we built. So it's crazy the things you do, but when you've got a really clear goal, it makes it much harder to do those easier, sorry, to do the hard things to get to where you want to go.
Wow. That's pretty inspiring. I can sense some resonance here with me. Like, okay, to share a bit, I started out well, when I was a kid, I wanted to become a pilot. I want to become a surgeon, all those things, the glamorous title. But then I figured, it's either you get a scholarship to be able to pursue until the completion, or and if I don't get the scholarship, that means I have to be funded by my dad, and we don't have that kind of money as well. So I resorted into something that is pretty practical, which is accounting. But I took professional, so similar to CPA, it's ACCA. So I hustled 10 years, and then now I'm at a point where I want to try something new. Okay, what now? Right. I've always liked financial investing, but just about yeah. I guess when I was reading your profile, it's more on what do I want to do, like, because I know you're doing philanthropy work as well, and that is what I wanna dive into. And I have questions like, do you really need to be that wealthy to start doing so?
No,
Exactly, right, exactly. So
no,
um
thankfully.
So okay. So let's move on to the next question. So all right. Could you tell us what are the common problems of people with their retirement or pension savings?
Sure. So I think the biggest problem with retirement is for the first 20 years of our working life, we just think it's so far away. Like, in our 20s and 30s and 40s, it's like,
Yes.
I'm not going to retire till I'm 65. I don't care. I'll figure all that out later. I've got all the time in the world. I've got 40 years to work and think about it. And the trouble with doing that is the shorter and shorter the time that we have at the end. Most people sort of hit 50 or 55 and go, I actually haven't thought about this yet. I haven't got much put aside. I've been having fun. I had babies. I had school fees. And now all of a sudden I don't have a
I've
lot
changed
to
my
retire with.
car every 5 years.
I've traveled the world, I've had the
Yeah,
adventures, but now I've got nothing to live on.
that's
So
true.
I think the earlier we think I've got to put aside for my future self, the more our future self will thank us from when we're younger. And the more we put away, even if we're 20 or 25 and we're just putting that extra $20 a week or $50 a week into a savings account, we've got the magic of compound interest for 40 years
I
to
love it.
grow and make these
Yes,
beautiful nest eggs for us if we
yes.
can be smarter younger. So I think that's a really big problem, that we're just not clever enough, young enough to think of how important it really is.
Yes, I just want to echo back to compounding, because that's really who said it? Warren Buffett? That's the eighth wonder of the world, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's time is really our best friend. So when it comes to money, and when it comes to heartbreak, I know I'm
It's a
time is
close
always,
line.
yeah. But I mean, coming back to the financials of it, it's like I was the one who I think I had the same thinking that Growing up, I never really, like, when we go to the store, I said I wanted to buy something. My mom would be like, do we really need it? And I kind of said it to myself, like, I never want to live like this again. And that kind of pushed me to move out from the house and just to get away from that kind of environment. It's not that I don't love them. I love them very much. But I think that the notion of you are who you associate yourself with, that really that really is true. So if I wanted to do something different, or anybody, they have to at least step away from all limiting beliefs that they have. And yeah, to go back to what you were saying. So I rushed into what can I do at the time? Study. I wanted to join the workforce as early as I can. And then, yeah, I did my fair share of having fun. Still going to, but I now realize that, okay, you grind for during your 20s, and what now? You know. So it's good. It's very humbling. And to be honest, compounding interest, I really how do I say this? Really believe in the magic of it. After 10 years, after putting aside, then I was like, wow, could take you 10 years to build X amount. It could take you half or even lesser to build double that amount. It's beautiful. And
Yeah, and it's like when you're older and looking back after the 10 years, you're not going to think, oh, I should have bought that handbag for 50 or
that's
100 or $1,000. We're not going to miss it because we would have probably already given it to the charity shop anyway because we don't need it anymore. So would that money, whatever it was, have been better saving for our future self instead
yeah,
of just having more stuff that in the end it is just stuff and we forget about it and pass it on and don't even think about it.
yeah, that's so true. And okay, for me, I had a fine. I did try. I did. How do I say? Reward myself because I like gadgets and I like this. So kind of. I did buy a car that I like. So I kind of. I don't know. Kind of like
Well, you've still got to live and have fun. And I'm not saying to be
that's
an
true.
ascetic and, live this minimal lifestyle where, everything's put away for your future self. Because if you're going to drop dead of a heart attack at 40 or 50 and not have lived at all, that's just as bad as spending all your money and having nothing because you
Yeah.
don't have a life. So
Yeah.
there has to still be balance where you're still having fun and doing the things that make you proud, but also understanding what to say no to, what's waste, and is your future self going to thank you for some of these decisions that you make? So I'm certainly not saying that every handbag's a bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if you do have the dream car,
Maybe we
that
can
can be
have a
such
war.
a cool
Yeah.
thing to get the vision board. Yeah,
Exactly, that to get you motivated again. So yeah,
yeah.
well, thank you for clarifying. I think people need to hear that. Okay, so let's see. So the philanthropy work that you do, right? Can we just go back to it? Is it true that you need to be extra rich in order to start your own philanthropy work?
Well, that would make it so much easier.
Then you have a different mindset, you see, because I have this
Yeah,
mindset that
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So how I sort of started doing it, I'd never done anything philanthropic except give some money to charity or put my old clothes in a charity bin to sell at a secondhand store. So when I got involved in a group in Australia, it's a big networking group for women in business called Business Chicks, and they partner with a group called the Hunger Project. And each year they would take a group of up to 20 women to visit a country, usually in Africa, where they support the work of the Hunger Project. And it was actually a leadership trip where you would go and learn from these women who were from the poorest countries on earth and how they'd turn their lives around. But to qualify to go on the trip, you had to cover all your own costs, which were, around $5,000 for your airfares and accommodation. And then you had to raise $10,000 for the charity. So if you're wealthy, you could put that 10,000 in yourself, I didn't have a spare $10,000. I had two school age kids and a mortgage, and, I had to work and grow my business, and I'd studied. So I had to ask people for money, which I'd never done before. And it was part of the leadership journey to be able to, ask someone whether it was $20 or $200 or $2,000, because it was something that was bigger than me and I was going to learn. And the first trip I'd signed up for was to Ethiopia, but it was too dangerous at the time. So we went to Uganda, and I had such an amazing time on this journey that the next year I signed up. And again, this time I went to Malawi. And then a few years later, I went to India with the Hunger Project, where they do things quite differently because it's based on what works in each culture. So, look, do you need money? Absolutely not. I think sometimes people get really hung up on setting goals and achieving goals. But for me, it was I had the opportunity. I was asked, would you like to go? And I thought of all these reasons why I couldn't. No, I'm running my business. No, I've got children. No, I'm busy. No, I don't have the money. And for once, I just went, yes. And I figured out how to make it happen because it was important to me. So I think sometimes embracing opportunities that come up can be just as important as setting and reaching goals. Because if we say no to everything because it just doesn't work out, we could pass up on some really cool things that we wouldn't experience otherwise. So no, you don't have to be rich. You have to learn how to say yes.
So I guess the key here is to learn how to say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah. It's like James Bond when he jumped off the cliff and had to go down to the plane and fly back out
Yeah,
again.
it's
Like,
like,
that's
what
not,
I was
that's
gonna,
not what I'm
yeah,
doing.
we'll land. Like, yeah, funny. I had the same conversation with my mom today. Like, I told them, okay, I wanted to go to Europe this year, so it would be my first trip to Europe. So, this is one of the things that when I was a kid, like, okay, I want to go, and if I were to wait for my parents, that I cannot push them. So I'm trying to make it happen myself. And still, I want to enjoy life. I want to go to a music festival. So I told my mom, and I'm like, Mom, okay, so let me try to go to Europe first. And then she always wanted to go to Italy, to the Vatican. So I said, okay, let me try first, and then perhaps sometime next year we could go do it. And I can tell like she was really worried about it, like it's okay, it's just a trip. We're not gonna be gone for like a month, probably the most 10, 15 days. That's it. So it's like sometimes when I look at it, it's also their first time living, and yeah, helping them to maybe kind of see that okay, it's possible, and not just yeah, because it's very hard to influence your friends or even your family members, so you just have to do it
Often,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, our parents and grandparents' generation, they were a lot more conservative. They were children of parents who'd lived through the war. They'd had very hard times. They had to be very frugal. They didn't have a lot of money. So the thought of spending thousands of dollars on a
On a
treat,
trip,
it's
yeah.
very, very difficult when they've had to scrimp and save. And often that's called a scarcity mindset. They don't know where the next meal was coming from, and they hold on to what they have. Whereas we might have more an abundance mindset. It's just money. It comes and goes. It's an energy that I can always make more. So they're very, very different thoughts. And they're not right or wrong. It's just what's influenced us and how to have a more balanced attitude. Because sometimes that scarcity and being frugal is very important so that we
Yeah,
can have the treats.
that's
Because if
true.
we keep just spending all the time, we'll never get the treat. So
Yeah,
learning that balance is really important.
yeah. Whew. All right, thank you about that. Thank you for that, Amanda. Okay, so all right, what can you tell us, or what do I need to know as a layman person about ethical investing?
So, ethical investments have become a lot more popular, especially with young people, probably in the last 20 years. And usually, when they first started out, it was look, I just don't want investments that are involved in war or tobacco or gambling. They were very, very simple. We just don't want bad stuff in our portfolio. So, some companies turned up and decided that, okay, we'll take those things out. We won't give you cigarettes. These days, there's everything from we don't want companies that do child labour. We don't want anyone involved in sex trafficking. We don't want, companies that invest in oil or refining. So I think it's very important to understand, what does ethical investing mean to me? It might just be, I want to make a social impact, so I'd like to help the environment. So I'd like companies that do good things for the environment. I mean, what's important to us all is very different. So understanding that first is important before you go looking for investments that meet those criteria. And then a few companies lately have gotten into a lot of trouble with what they call greenwashing, where they pretend their investments are very ethical and green and responsible, and it
Mm-hmm.
turns out they're not. So
Really? I
yeah,
didn't.
they've gotten in trouble. So yeah, it's important, and look, that makes it difficult because even professional investment people might not know that these companies aren't as good as they say they are. So it can be hard to find exactly what you're looking for. Others like to invest in things with social impact, where the hospital might be doing research into something that's important because their mother died of a particular cancer or a degenerative disease. They go, well, I want to support things that, help muscular dystrophy or breast cancer. So I think ethical investments mean so many things to so many different people that it's tricky to get it right. But I think, like everything, the first questions start with us. What's important to me? And there's online questionnaires you can go through and find out all the different types of investing that there are, so that you can work out, look, does that matter to me or not? I might not care about the cigarettes, but I really don't want coal mines, or I really want electric vehicles, but I don't want the sex trade. So understanding those sort of things is important when we make those decisions.
Right. So, this one, ethical. So, does it mean like, because so let's say for a person that comes to you, and then they say, okay, I have this amount of money, and then this is where you come in and you tell them that. So, what are the procedure like? The typical step-by-step process if a person were to come to you and ask for your advice.
Some people want to put just a little bit of their money into ethical investments, just like it's a feel good factor. Other people want to put all their money into ethical investments. So we kind of work out where they sit in that field. And I do have a questionnaire that I go through with them that goes through which of all the ethical things are most important to you. For some, it's all of them. They don't want any baddies at all. And others like, no, I just really want to concentrate on the socially responsible, or that sort of thing. So it's quite a process to understand what's right for each person, and then try and work out a portfolio to find the investments that fit based on what they're looking for.
Perfect. Okay. So do you only serve people in Australia, or do you also have clients like
No,
outside of?
we're only allowed to operate within Australia for Australian clients. So
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. So if they're Australian listeners, they're interested, they could come to you.
absolutely.
Right. Okay. So you talk about financial abuse in your profile. So how can somebody know if they're abused financially? And is this the correct way to interpret it?
Yeah, so financial abuse is when somebody is either coercing you or forcing you to use your assets in a way you don't want, or withholding assets from you. So it can often be a husband and wife case where the husband is the breadwinner and the wife stays home with the children, and he might only give her a small amount of money every week for the groceries, and she finds it very difficult to make ends meet, and she can't also buy shoes or school books or medical supplies. It could be a woman who is working, but her partner wants to take all her money and use it for his own means. I do know one man who made lots and lots of money, and his wife would take it all and send it back to her family in another country. So he also was being financially abused. And it can happen a lot with older people, where their children, when they start to lose their mind a little or get dementia, the children
Mhm.
might come and steal money from their bank account, or make them change their will. So there's lots of ways financial abuse can happen. And usually one of the best ways to figure it out is if something someone's asking you really makes you feel uncomfortable or it doesn't feel right to you, I'd ask somebody else and just say, look, is this normal? It could be you're part of a couple and, you share all the bills. And someone might go, oh, look, I thought he was the breadwinner. He should do it. And someone else goes, no, 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 look, this is the modern world. Everybody shares. That's fine. Okay, that's all right. But, to other people, it might be, oh, well, I don't work. How can I pay or contribute? So there's different ideas. And because we've had those very traditional roles where the man was always the breadwinner and the mum stayed at home, which was how it worked, it's also difficult now that many, many women are working and they're not traditionally staying at home with the children. So because they have their own money, it changes the dynamic as well. But if someone's making you do things that are really uncomfortable or depriving you of assets and money or not letting you access a bank account, all those things make up a form of financial abuse. And it's very good to try and confide in somebody who you trust and see if, you're not just making it up, someone else sees you. Financial abuse can go so far. It's usually a part of domestic violence as well because it's the easiest way to control somebody. So if they don't have access to money, they can't run away. So
Yeah.
it makes it especially difficult for women with children. So it's a in some countries now, coercive control is recognised as a crime. So
Mm.
it can be that serious. There's even police units now in some stations that are dedicated to stopping elder financial abuse, where older people are being deprived of their money by their children. So it's a very big problem around the world.
Wow. Wow. I have never, I mean, probably seen it in the movies, but not in real life. Yeah.
That's good.
But that's not the case. We have it. It's happening.
Yeah, it is. I actually had a girlfriend whose second husband tried to kill her for her money. Yeah, yeah. It's real. It happens, sadly.
So you, I assume you have clients that actually come to you for advice as well for things like this.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not just a look, this is what you do and this is how you fix it. There's no just cookie cutter, this is going to work for everybody. And some people are prepared to stay in a financially abusive relationship because they're worried for their life, for their children, for not being able to feed themselves or their kids. So even wanting to save someone or help someone in that situation, sometimes they're prepared to put up with it because they're more frightened of what would happen otherwise. So it can be very difficult to advise people who aren't prepared to make any changes when they come to see you. And sometimes when they're seeing you, what they're talking about is actually a crime. And I ask them, if they want me to report it, especially for elder financial abuse.
Oh, so you have like older people who actually come to you and tell you about their problem and
Yeah, where their
wow.
children are trying to either force them out of their house or steal their money. And I say, do you need me to report this to the police? And most of them don't want their loved ones to get into trouble, even when they're doing the wrong thing.
So, okay, this is me being curious, and I just want to get it from your own point of view. So, how do you manage that kind of input from people?
My
I
business
know
has
my cat was like meowing all over just now, but he's settled now.
I wanted to step on my keyboard and cut us off.
Yeah,
Sorry, what was
smart.
your question?
Yeah, no, I was asking. This is more from my personal. I just want to be my own curiosity. So, how do you manage this input that you receive from people and don't not let it affect you? Because you have your a business to run, and I'm sure you've got to be really attentive to negative things, and it will somehow drain your energy. So, how do you manage that?
I drink a lot of wine. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Australia's good with I miss Australia.
I think managing our own mental health, whether we're confronting these things or not, is really important. So I think it's really good to find things that we love and do them. So I exercise 3 times a week. I I enjoy singing, so I take myself to singing lessons every week. I live
Wow.
very close to the beach, so now and then I'll if I'm very stressed, I'll go for a walk on the beach. I've got trusted friends, a really lovely friendship network, so I might anonymously tell the story just so I can share it and get it out and get another
Get it up.
perspective on
Yeah.
it. Obviously, there's confidentiality issues that I'd never share some things with people, but having a really good network, strong mental health. I mean, if meditation's your thing, I think a meditation every morning or Tai Chi, whatever is your form of calm is really important to maintain because, yeah, some days I come home and I do just want to cry from the stories I've heard because I have a very strong sense of justice and it upsets me when people are being abused. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, why I'm asking is because like I said, I'm one person that I wanted to try something, so I've also signed up to get myself a qualification to do therapy because this is something that I wanted, trying to see if I can help people. I want to help people, so and I want to do it in the right way, get a qualification for it. So, and I think over the years, I have, one thing I noticed about myself, I take on energy very fast. That means whenever somebody is saying something, like you said, strong sense of justice, I feel like, uh, and it's easy to get so caught up in it and just tell them you should do this. But then if you're in their shoes, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. That's number one. And also number two, when somebody's going through something really bad, you tend to cry and then you feel like, oh, try to put yourself in their shoes. Or what if it's me? And you start spiraling into your own thoughts and, oh my God.
Yeah,
And
and I think for very, very empath or empathetic people, it is harder. But you have to build up a little bit of an armor, but you also still have to be empathetic to people's stories. And I think also understanding that sometimes what you're hearing is only half the story. My daughter had a friend recently who was putting all over Facebook, I'm a good mother and the government's taken my children away and why would they do this? And it was very sad and tragic. But on the other hand, her husband then said, well, actually, she's been on meth and she's been mistreating the children, but her Facebook story is very different to the real story. And that's
right,
why the children were taken from her. So I think also understanding that there's your side, the other side, and sometimes the truth is kind of in between, but we all see things, this is my truth. And, so I think also understanding that, and look, some of the things that happen are horrific. I'm not trying to make them lighter at all, but just trying to keep that distance that this isn't happening to me. It's it's happening to someone else and I'm sad for them, but that not taking that negative energy ourselves because I've got an expression I use all the time. It's not my circus, not my monkeys. So even
mm,
though I'm helping the person with the problem, they're not the monkey on my back. I've got my own issues to worry about.
yeah,
And as much as
yeah,
I want to help you, it's not my circus, not my monkey. So it's an expression that sort of keeps that little bit of distance for me. I'll do anything I can to help you to a point. But yeah, I can't lose my own mental health or family over it. So yeah, it's a very, again, it's a fine line. And I think most people want to help people, and most financial advisors I know, they get into it because they want to help people financially. So it's a job where you sort of have to be a little bit of a counselor as well. But yeah, not like you got to learn not to take it on board.
yeah, yeah. Wow. Thank you, Amanda. Right. So, what is the best financial tip you give your clients?
It's really boring and it's really simple and it's live within your means. I think we live in a society where we can have everything now and pay it off, and we have all these celebrities who tell us we need all these brand names, and we just don't need that to live a happy life. So I think working out what makes us happy and not trying to keep up with everybody else is really important. So if we know our budget each week, if we have $100 coming in and we only spend 80, then we've still got money to put aside for our future self and we still cover our bills and we can still have a treat. Whereas if we've got $100 each week and there's 120 going out, we're going to be in trouble very quickly. So it's important. A lot of people don't like the word budget because it's boring and they have to sit down and work things out. But if we know what comes in and what goes out, it just makes our lives easier. Because then, if we know we're in too much debt, we either have to work harder or get a second job or ask for a pay rise or all of the above, or cut back and sell things so that we have
Yeah.
that simpler life. So it just helps us keep a tab on where things are. And I know that's really boring and it's not sexy and it's not going to make you rich in a hurry, but it will save you a lot of problems.
Bring that up, like even I just want to touch about on the Gen Zs right now. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, where are they in this planning? And what do you see happening in the next 10, 20 years?
Funnily enough, some of the research I've looked into on Gen Z is showing that they're going back to a more conservative, almost baby boomer kind of
Really?
style. Whereas we've had the consumerism and the greed and the wanting to follow people. And look, there are still people very much wanting to do whatever an influencer does, where I think perhaps the Gen Zs are kind of starting to see through that a bit and being a bit more true to self and going, you know what, it's cool to be frugal. I don't have to spend money just because Kim Kardashian bought that brand or somebody else came out with a new
Or they
makeup
come up
brand.
with their own brand, and everybody next best thing is that in the market.
Yeah. Or, the new shoes that this guy's got out or the tennis racket this one's got. I mean, I think there's now almost an apathy about, I actually don't need to follow that life. I think there's even a move back to I want to start growing my own vegetables and being more simple, having a few
So you're like, I
chickens in
take
the
myself
back.
away from all of this. Yeah. Go live in a country, remote country somewhere.
And I think people the lifestyle that's been living this 9 to 5 and you're on the hamster wheel and you're always running and you're always stressed and you've got to get the kids here and there's after school activities and your boss wants you here and you've got to be a perfect hostess on the weekend to your friends at the party, and people don't want that life anymore. I think for a lot, COVID hit the pause button where we could have a think about that. And although life for many has gone back to what it was, I think more and more of us are thinking, is this still
The
the
right
life
way
I want to
to
be
live.
living? And I think Gen Z is going to be the ones that go, you know what, maybe it's not. We can be flexible. We can work the hours we want. We can work remotely. I can go surfing in Bali and still dial into all my meetings and have that flexibility and the lifestyle at the same time. So hopefully they'll get it a bit more right than some of the previous generations have.
Well, so you're hopeful, optimistic
I
about that.
am.
Well, they, but they are our next generations anyway. So yeah, they're the one who's gonna continue.
For
Thank you for
sure.
that insight, Amanda. Okay, so I'm gonna pivot to a question on self worth because my podcast talks a lot about that. Right. Question for you is: many people struggle with feelings of worthlessness at some point in their lives. What are the common triggers for these feelings, and how can individuals cope with them effectively?
I think we all have a version of imposter syndrome where we think we're not good enough, or one day someone's going to see through us and realize that, we're not as cool as we think we are. But when I realized that everybody has that, I sort of went, oh, well, I don't need to worry about it anymore. Because if we've all got it, it doesn't matter.
She has
We're
it.
all
She has it. Although
friends.
she drives
We're
a
all doing
car
our best.
that's nicer, she has a big bungalow house, but she has it as well.
I think, look, we're all doing our best and we're not doing ourselves any favors if we're comparing ourselves to other people. And the best way to measure your self worth is, am I a better person today than I was yesterday? Am I learning something new to make myself a better person? And I went through a stage when I'd had my children and I was studying my master's degree and we were building a house, and I had to have dinner on the table at 6 every night, and the house had to be perfect on the weekends, and I always had to have friends, and I put all this pressure on myself about, I call it, I should have all over myself. I should this and I should that. So I should all over myself. And
Should all
so
over
I
your.
just, I always should
A
be doing
great term.
something. And one day I just sort of fell in a heap, and it was all my own self worth. And someone said to me, like, how can you keep giving out when you put nothing back in, like your teapot? Like, so if you're not filling up your teapot, how can you fill up the cups? So it was an interesting analogy for me to learn to invest in my self-worth and give back to myself, because I'm no use to anybody, my husband, my children, my friends, if I don't invest back in me. And back then I thought that was selfish. I don't have time for me. I have to be the best mother or the best wife. So that was a big learning curve, that it's not selfish to invest in yourself. You are worthy of having that time, because, yeah, if these people do rely on you and love you, it's a really loving thing to be able to stay healthy and be there for them so that you can have longer with them. So look, that's just, I think many mums do that. You put yourself last because, you always have the burnt chop off the dinner, or
Yeah. Or the crust,
everybody
the
else.
rice, right? The rice cooker, yeah. The last piece.
So yeah, I that was a big learning curve for me. I was sort of in my mid-30s when I fell in a heap and had to get some counselling so that I could understand that I was worthy and it was time to start giving back to me. So now, like I said, I'll do exercise 3 times a week. I do a meditation in the morning. I like to get my nails done once a month. So just finding little things like my singing lessons that I can
Yeah,
do.
that's it.
Yeah. So, it doesn't hurt to finally go, you know what? I am worthy. I can do this for me. It's important.
Wow. Looks like it's the year. You're already here.
Got
Yeah.
the tagline down pat.
Good one, Amanda. I love that. I love that. Okay, so what is your heart's greatest wish?
Oh, there's so many. All about my family. Like I said, I've got my first grandbaby. Now my son's got a baby and another on the way. And
Wow.
I would love to, I suppose, just spend more time with my family, be able to holiday with them. And I've created a business where I can work with my children as well. So I'm very fortunate that actually I basically get to live my heart's greatest wishes, and that's to provide and look after my family and spend time with them. So I have built, I suppose, a lifestyle and business where we're all together and working together, and they still want to spend time with me outside of work as well. So that's really cool.
Wow, yeah. I mean, like, okay, so, and your kids would want to, they actually want to stay with you. Like, a lot of kids, they want to be away from their parents. Like,
Yeah, I
and
couldn't
now,
wait to get out of home. I was like 20. I'm like, get me out of here.
yeah, 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 find my
I want
own
my own
stuff.
life. I need to get out of this place. But yeah, mine actually like being with us. So yeah, look, if I had my heart's greatest wish, I've actually got it. So,
I love that for you. You did something right.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right. Okay. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
The Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys has been a very popular one lately, because I think we do get involved. Someone will tell us a story, and like you said, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And being able to just step back from it and going, you know what, you do you. I don't have to agree with what you do, but it actually doesn't impact me. So I think that is a good idea, that instead of taking on board everybody's drama, because some people thrive on drama and we don't have to.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh gosh.
We all
That's
know those
another.
people.
Yeah. That's another league of its own. Okay.
And I think the other thing is just be kind. We never know what people are going through, what their stories are, what happened to them that morning, the day before, the week before. Some people have got chronic health issues that they don't let on, or big family issues, and you just don't know. So I think sometimes that just smiling at someone in the elevator or saying you look amazing today, even if they're wearing Crocs.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have fun with you if you were to drink wine. I think you're a fun person to be with.
To me, laughter and a sense of
Oh
humour
yes,
is very,
yes.
very important. Yeah, I have to have a giggle or a laugh every day. I try and say,
I
one
like it.
kind thing, because it does make your day. If you're walking past and someone goes, "Oh, I love your lipstick," or "That's a pretty top," or "I love your shoes," you always you feel taller and you look better, and you're,
Yeah,
oh,
you're
so
prettier. Like suddenly, oh, somebody's
walking down
noticing me
here.
today. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can then pay it forward and do that for somebody else, maybe that's just the thing they needed to hear at that moment. So I think be kind, and yeah, don't take on everybody's drama. I'll have a glass of wine.
Amanda.
Only on the weekend.
Oh God, I found my tribe.
I do. You've got to find your own brand of crazy in this world and stick with them.
Yes, it's like okay, yeah, I've got a colleague, and it's yeah, I kind of formed like my own alliance in the office, and it's like at a different department. They're in different departments, so it's like whenever we get together, although not it's not all a walk in the park every day at work, but still, if you can there's something serious and you can just make a joke out of it and just laugh and then go back to the issue, I
Yeah.
think it's manageable. It's made me bearable. Yeah.
Yeah.
The work. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love
For
that.
sure.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night?
Not anymore. I used to sleep terribly and I'd sit there lying there, reliving things and going back over them in my mind and what could I do differently and how should I have done that? And I think learning to be kind to yourself makes that so much easier. So I do now, like when I go to bed, that's my time to wind down. I love reading. So every night I do find a book that I love and I read before I go to sleep. That's important to me. Another little way just to give back to me. So when I do go to sleep, I am relaxed. I know that I did my best through the day. Lying there thinking about all the things I could have done differently isn't going to change what happened. If someone's owed an apology because I did something wrong, I'm definitely willing to take that on and try and do that sooner rather than later. But for the most part, worry isn't going to make you sleep better or give you more, relaxed sleep that you can wake up and do the next day even better. So maybe that just comes with age. um, learning not to stress about things that are out of your control. I think there's a really good book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, where you spend so much time worrying about all the little things and these big things build up. So it's important, to learn what's worth worrying about. Is this problem in my control? Can I do anything about it? And if not, let it go. Because if it's out of your control, there's no point worrying about something you can't change.
I love that. It's sort of me talking to people, me talking to guests. It's a little mini therapy for me as well. Like you, sometimes we know all of that, but we just need somebody to hear it. We just need somebody to say it, then we can hear it. Oh yes, okay, so it's all right. You're on the right track. You're doing something right. Sometimes like
Let it go. Sing that song
yeah.
from Frozen. Let it go. Let it go.
Oh my god, I think you're the life of the party when you guys get together. Right?
Don't make me sing it.
That's why you're taking singing lessons.
That's right. But I don't think she'll ever teach me Frozen songs.
Oh man, you made my day.
Thank you for having me.
You're such a great human being. You're doing a great job. Like,
Oh, thank you, Nicolette. It's lovely.
yeah. One more question before we
Sure.
go. So, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Oh gosh, spring the big questions on us.
To close it off, the Big Bang. Before we
A
close it.
legacy. Oh wow. Look, if I suppose had the magic wand, or should I do the beauty pageant? I want world peace. Of course I do. In the crown. It's, I think my inequality and injustice banner burns very deep and very bright in me. So I'd probably do something to address what I can. And in the meantime, I just try and do my best in my little part of the world and love and be kind to those around me and try not to beat myself up too badly when I fall short. So I think the legacy is yet be kind, and we all make mistakes, and it's so easy to sit there and judge people not only for what they're wearing but for what they're doing and for saying the wrong thing. And I know there's times I'm very impulsive and I say something and I don't even realize that that person's been offended by it or taken it the wrong way. And so I think sometimes it's good to just understand that, maybe they're having a bad day, or we've got no control over whether people take the things we say the right or wrong way. So just, yeah, being kind, letting things through to the keeper if they don't really matter. You meet people who get so bitter and twisted and hung up on something that happened 30 years ago, and they can't let go, and their own health is impacted because they hang on to things so tightly. I think, yeah, the more we learn to just let things go and be kind is really important.
Beautiful. I think that sums up everything. Perfect. What a way to close our interview.
Oh, thank you. You really put me on the spot with that question. I thought I'd need something very deep and meaningful and from the soul.
Like,
I'll lie
yeah,
awake at night now and think of something really cool to say, and I'll be so mad at you.
I like,
So
oh,
be sweating
I
that
should have
stuff.
said, no, stop shooting all over yourself.
I'll ring you back at 3 a.m. and go, I thought of the perfect
Yes,
ending.
yes.
Now I need wine.
I can't sleep because I'm thinking about the best comeback for Nicolette's question. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're such a fun person, Amanda. I think you're such a light. You're such a beautiful light to people around you, and I think that now I understand why your kids want to be around you.
Oh, they're
I
always
think
mad at me.
your grandkids would be, yeah, they would
Oh,
love
they're the
it.
best. If I could have grandkids without kids, that would be way better.
Can't skip it though.
Maybe impossible, but
And
we wouldn't appreciate grandkids as much without having had the kids. So.
they like it. We like them when they were small, right? And that's
Yeah,
like after a
exactly.
certain
Before they
age,
could
and
talk
then
back.
yeah. Mm.
Be good to your mother, Nicolette.
Yes, that's why I told her, like, okay, mom, thank you for everything. Let's go on a trip. I told her,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
that would be magical for you to go with your mum to Italy. The Vatican's incredible. She will have a wonderful time.
Well, thank you. This is the sign from the universe that I'm looking for.
You'll make it happen. It will. Yeah, it's magical. I was
Thank
actually in Rome and the Vatican in Easter for 2011, and it was an amazing, amazing place. Yeah, it was incredible. But I didn't get to actually go through the Vatican because it was Easter then until 2019. So yeah, it's definitely worth holding out and saving up for.
All right, I will. That is the goal. I'm gonna make
That's
it
the
happen.
goal.
Yes.
Make it happen.
All right. Thank you so much, Amanda, for your time. And are you on social media? Because
Yes, I
when this
am.
airs, okay.
Yep.
Maybe you can drop me your handle
Sure.
afterwards. All
Yeah,
right.
it's at Finance Chicks.
Liz, was it Liz?
No, Finance Chicks. So I'll
Finance
send
chick.
you an email. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Where
Perfect.
where are you based?
Kuala Lumpur,
Ah, okay.
Malaysia. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
No,
many times to KL.
I've been
There
to
used to
Australia
be
once.
really cool Gold Coast KL trips for $99 by AirAsia.
I
So I used to go,
know they
yeah, I used
released
to go a lot.
it. Oh
And it was
gosh.
cheap.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Now I have a friend in Gold Coast. I
Yeah,
want to go. I want to go to, what was that? The roller coaster.
the Dream World and Sea World.
Yes, yes, I want to go there because I've been to the ones in Japan and I want to try that. Okay, I
Yep,
got
yep. We're
got
sort
a
of the
friend.
Florida of Australia on the Gold Coast. We've got all the theme parks, so you'll have to come over for sure.
Perfect that I can hit you up.
Look me up.
Maybe.
Look me up. Yep.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right,
Thanks for having
Amanda.
me.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you so
night.
much.
Oh,
Have a
day.
good day.
See you.
Have a good evening. Okay, bye bye.
Ooh. Night.